Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, a writing VTuber and an artist, and today we're going to be working on the page 7 that we started last time. I know I said I wanted to have more of it done in time for today's stream, but I got sidetracked making like 6 million thumbnails. Actually, two. Actually, only one. I only finished one. I've been doing some stuff in preparation. I don't have a whole lot of hands cam streams that I do, but I tend to so because I don't have a whole lot of hand cam streams that I do, I tend to try to make the ones that I do have into a little bit of a spectacle, right? I try to make them a little bit special. You know, I once heard some advice that I try to take to heart, right? Make every day the main event, and I want to embody that, but at the same time, because it's something that I rarely get to do, I feel more excited for it. So that's why I want to put in 110% for the. How was I doing this again? Wait, am I on the right layer? Before anything else. Okay, yeah, no, we're fine. We're fine. We're cooking. We're cooking. Okay. Let me just do this. So what we need to do is we need to just close this off here. Even though it's going to look super jank if I have to move out the background around a little. Well, I can move it around just a little bit. I think just a little bit would be fine. But probably not too much. Heck, this piece we can't move at all. In any case, what we need to do right now is both finish the background for this part. I don't know what to do first, because we can either finish the background by making the kind of part here. I guess that wouldn't take very long, actually. Hang on. There we go. And then this other part kind of starts to peek up around here. I also need to remember to do the lines on this thing. Thankfully, because we don't show as many perspectives of it as we do for the spillers here on the right, we can kind of get away with a whole lot more. That being said, we do also need to bear in mind the lines right in front of this part. So let me take a look here again. Okay, so we would be able to see, I think, this kind of like part in front here. And I think we can use that as a kind of reference point for where the sphere ends. We can put this around somewhere here. Actually, we can... Actually, it'd be better to flatten the curve a little bit to help increase the sense of scale. Also, I would have to do this on a separate layer on top of the one here, because otherwise the lines would not work. Also have to erase this one here, just so I don't double dip and accidentally make a super dense line behemoth right here. Let's see. Right, I was making like this tall, spiky one. And then that gives us a little bit of a reference point for the rest of these. We can probably... Hang on, it's got more of a... Hang on, it's almost like reversed. I need to... There we go. And we can have this one be essentially buried, and then have the rest of it come up through here, erasing this little chunk right here. We'll also need to remember the pockmarks from where they shot at her earlier. Okay, so from around here to around here, I'm gonna say, we can start making the second one of these. And then right here, in the middle, we'll have the kind of dirt spillover. All right, then for the pock marks on the lasers, we can just have them scattered about. I don't know what that straight line was doing there. I did not invite him to the function. I don't know why he's here, or why he thought he was invited. Bro thinks he's on the team for some reason. But they do say the more the merrier. I guess that's how pointillism came to be about. I wonder if there are, like, idioms or phrases you could use to relate to specific art movements. I feel like for pointillism, it would be the more the merrier. Because the I want to say the point of pointillism, but that's too easy. The thrust of pointillism is to use tiny little marks to eventually create a larger picture. It was kind of like, dude, if pointillist artists knew about pixels, they would lose their entire minds. They would make the most intense pixel art ever. Or I guess they might stick to their guns and keep painting with paint and such. I don't know. I feel like pointillism is one of those things that was definitely more novel when it first kind of arrived on the scene, but it's still don't get me wrong, the level of technical work needed to do it is absurd. But I feel like now that we understand pixels pretty well, it's less mind-blowing about how it comes together. Like, we understand the technology behind it better. That doesn't really undermine it. If anything, it just makes us more appreciate it more, I think. You know, kind of like how I was like, you know, it still requires a lot of technical skill to accomplish. Same idea. Okay. Now then, let's keep adding a few more pock marks here and there. And maybe even a few things of grass. A little bit of grass here and there to kind of add to the, perhaps not juxtaposition, but certainly it's not letting me juxtapose. I'm not being permitted to juxtapose. I'm being, oh, right, because it's on this layer. Now I remember. I had previously forgotten, but now I remember. How am I going to forget a layer placement that I made literally less than 15 minutes ago? Or it might have been more than 15 minutes. I don't keep too good of a track of time on stream. Like, when I start to get a little bit winded, a little bit wired, not wired, a little bit winded down, I do try to look at, like, the time and be like, okay, is it around the time I normally end stream? Like, am I good to keep going? What is my stamina looking like? But at other times, I look at the clock and I realize it's been 40 minutes while I've been going on tangents, and it's genuinely kind of terrifying. What is... I am going to hate myself so much when I need to color this in like 2 or 3 days. I'll add this with the shading colors. I'm not going to add too much with the... Hang on. I'm not going to add too much scuff on the ground at this stage. I'm going to do more once I have the shading colors down. Because I feel like if I jump the gun here, I'm going to end up with like a really detailed hatching that I won't be able to adapt very easily. It's merely a precaution. You understand? Okay, thank God we are on the same layer. I was gonna say if I was accidentally working on the wrong layer just then, I think I would have had to end stream early. The shading is also going to be really interesting inside the dome. And what the hell? I'm going to add the thingamabob here. This thing. Although I would have to add it all the way over here, and that makes sense, but it's what the hell? It'll be like, listen, 5 minutes in and out. We'll be fine. We'll be fast. We'll be fast. We will not be fast. We will not be doing that. The structure thing. Correct. The structure, parentheses, thing, double parentheses, object, bracket parentheses, mechanism. Oh, hell yeah. Rice Feast time. Got one of these guys in here. Aw. If I actually had any length to my legs, it would look like it's sitting on my lap. That's something I haven't thought about, actually. How much does a rice feast actually weigh? Like, I know that I'm actually rather heavy, but I haven't thought about how much the rice feast weighs. How and the kind of heft of the beast. It's dense. We both are. I kind of want to kind of make the rice beast also heavy to match. Like it just looks like it would weigh as much as a normal house cat, but it would be actually like 40 kilograms. It'll be like the weight of a small child. Or a really, really big bag of flour. Maybe about as much as a bowling ball. I think if I make a rice piece the weight of a bowling ball, I think that would be a good trade-off, more or less. Heavy enough if you dropped it from a second-story floor, it could endanger someone. For some reason, now I'm immediately thinking of that fucking book from Homestuck that killed a cat. That was like heavy enough to kill a cat. Like that was like a consistent description for it, and it ended up being what it was used for. Well, not used for. It ended up fulfilling a kind of karmic purpose, more like a lot of brick jokes in in Homestuck. Hmm. Yeah, okay, that'll do. Now I just need to make the mechanism on the inside of it. Now I'm just imagining being able to use rice beast as like a medicine ball to do ab exercises. I wouldn't recommend it personally. The little thing loves to bite, so I feel like that would either add a thrilling new element to your workout or kind of distract you a little bit from your gains. Shadowboxing the beast would be is the equivalent of like a 12-hour marathon. Exercise, but watch out. The Rice Beast personal trainer. If you stop dodging, it will bite you. That reminds me a little bit of that one Pop Team Epic strip where they were like going to race against Sonic, and I don't remember if it was like an official one. It can't have been an official one because there's no way they wouldn't have made like a joke about them getting sued by Sega. But there was like this one Pop Team Epic fan comic where they were racing against Sonic, and one of the Pop Team Epic things, characters? I feel like they're too powerful to be rightfully called human. Anyway, one of the Pop Team Epic characters was holding the gun that you would normally see an Empire hold. And Sonic was like, hey, you're supposed to point that at the sky. And she said, the bullet is your opponent. Get on your marks. And that's where the comic ended. I do think 4-panel comics are like, the Pop Team Epic author has some kind of vendetta. Against whom precisely, it is unknown, but I don't doubt that. Yeah, exactly. I think he's just got a vendetta against everything. It's like those dudes who think that Rage Against the Machine is like just generic rage instead of like an actual political statement. It's not even a Rage Against the Machine, it's just rage. It's like that one adorable looking mascot character that gets in all kinds of shenanigans. Cheetan, I think its name is. I fucking love Cheetan. I hope it's doing okay. I do hope at some point Cheetan tries to come over to the United States, because I would love to see it square up the Gritty. You know, we talk a lot about how we don't have mascot culture here in the West, but I feel like we kind of missed the train when we had that Philadelphia Flyers thing. Okay. There we go. I will never. One of those tweets that fundamentally changed that, like, have you ever had a moment where you genuinely said to yourself out loud, "Yeah, sure, I'll incorporate that into my worldview and belief system." One of those moments for me was when I read this one tweet that asked what exactly the deal with Gritty was in terms of like its kind of Gritty's kind of status as a mascot. And somebody replied to them that they believe that it is the personification of Philadelphia as a god, like Roma was for the Romans. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can believe that. I'll take that. For $40, I will take that. I will take that into my belief system. I've been grifted for less. Philadelphia incarnate. Well, I don't know. It's hard to call him incarnate, right? Because we don't know for sure that he's made out of meat. That they are made out of meat. Fuck, I need to pronoun check fucking Gritty. Hang on. Okay, yeah, Gritty is he, him. Okay, cool. Gritty is the official, from the Wikipedia page, official mascot for the Philadelphia Flyers National Hockey League team. He's a 7-foot tall, 2.1 meter, furry orange creature with googly eyes who wears Flyers gear. He has been compared to the Phillie Phanatic, the mascot for the Philadelphia Phillies baseball team, which I cannot fucking believe is an actual thing. That sounds like a bad improv bit. He was created by Brian Allen of Flyland Designs with the help from David Raymond, the first man to portray the Phillie Phanatic. Like, Phillie Phanatic for the Philadelphia Phillies sounds like the background for an Ace Attorney case character. Back where I'm from, we just used to name our teams and mascots after our neighborhoods. Actually, come to think of it, I could probably get away with a little bit of perspective angling on the jetpack here. Hang on. Where is the mesh edit? There we go. That don't look right. Oh, that's got a nasty dent in it right away. Oh, this works. Yeah, screw it. I'm getting the model in here. Every single time I've tried to freehand at this page, I've instantly had to go like, you know what? This is a lot of work. I might as well just get the model in here. So now I'm gonna preempt that. Now I'm gonna move proactively, as opposed to moving probiotically. I keep forgetting how badly I've scaled my model. So now this jetpack is the size of 3 of these men. They could pilot that thing like a mech. Okay, put this on the ground. Size 1 mech. Oops. Yeah. God, that reminds me of when I tried to make the jetpack have like the same pattern as the helmet on the back here, but instantly that was kind of shot down because it looked a little bit too much like the backpack thing that the Kamen Rider X8 has. Not because it would be a ripoff, but because it just looks off-putting. And I'm glad that I know about that now. I'm glad I'm aware of it. There we go. What would be the analog to the jetpack's manufacturer in Lancer for the jetpack here? Because I'm kind of feeling Harris Armory, but because I feel like the Harris Armory designs either Harris Armory or IPS North Star because of just the design of it. It looks very functional, which I don't know. I feel like it needs more like ribbed tubes coming out of it before I can fully be comfortable calling it an IPS North Star like. I feel like for at least a lot of the ones we see in the core rulebook, I cannot, for the fucking life of me, imagine like a factory fresh or printer fresh, I guess, IPS North Star mech. I feel like those things come with like, you know how like you can buy pre-distressed jeans? I feel like they come with built-in grime. Yeah, exactly. They're functional, but with duct tape holding everything together. I feel like it would have to be like grimy. Like IPS North Star mechs come with like pre-built slop. Like instead of like how some car dealerships will give you like a little pine cone air freshener on the car for free, these guys will give you like a hosing down with mud as you walk out of the dealership, which somehow increases the value of the vehicle against all odds. Bro, a used car salesman Lancer character. Oh my god! Now I've had the best idea ever. We could there's like a campaign for Lancer where you essentially act as like repo men for a used frame dealership. A guy doesn't make the payments on his fucking on his fucking zheng, so now he has to get it repossessed. And you're the one who's gonna help him do it. My silly ass could never be a DM. I would instantly be too attracted to like going with to committing to the bid, and it would completely derail any actual substance the story might have. All right. Control point simplify. Simplify. Here we go. God. The the third committee's Saturn dealerships must go insane. One of the mechs on the lot has an undetonated missile stuck in the frame. Nobody's brave enough to buy it yet. Yeah. It is actually like I want to imagine that it is actually like a disarmed missile, but now like there's a new hazing ritual for whenever somebody starts working at the dealership where they have to do like repairs on the car with on the mech with the missile still sticking out of it. And one of the guys will just go up behind him sneakily like and be like boo, and then they will completely piss themselves thinking it went off. God. This is why I need to write more comics. I need to exercise these ideas before I end up doing something I'll regret, like forgetting them. The intro to the campaign is just a Big Bill Hell's ad read, but with with Lancer parts, but like with a Lancer flare. If you're a dumb enough schmuck to come to the to come to the Outer Rim this weekend, you're a big enough schmuck to come to Black Skies reupholstery. Bad deals. Mechs that have 3 structure damage. Bees. Home of Challenge Danger Zone. That's right. Challenge Danger Zone. How does it work? If you can go 6 turns while being in the danger zone and not take heat damage, you get no down payment. Don't wait, don't delay, and don't fuck with us. Alright. Or we'll make one of those Vex ransom note memes about you and post it on Reddit. 3 billion like. Alright, I need to get rid of at least a few of these. Oh no, I haven't been properly separating my layers. Actually, this is fine. You know what? This is fine. It's gonna get covered up anyway. I'm sure this will not be a decision I come to regret. Trust. Oh no, I think it will be because I need to put these guys in front of the ball here. Alright, here we go. Alright, and then we just grab these ones, and this one. Copy these, take this out, put it on top of here. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Alright. We managed to do that with minimal pain. Let's go. The surgery was a complete success. Alright, no strenuous activity and no chewing solid foods for at least 3 weeks, but then you should be good to go. Just wait for that graph to set in. You'll be fine. If it starts to swell up, put a little bit of ice on it. One very cool thing that happened as a result of my grown graft, in addition to no longer needing to worry about one of my front teeth falling out, is that I learned that you can use tea bags as mouth gauze. Damn, it's applesauce for me. That's right. You're eating nothing but crushed chicken noodle soup. That is genuinely what I subsisted off of for the first 3 or so days. after my gum graft. Oh man, I have never missed chewing solid foods as much as I did back then. Every single day of my life, I was like, let me try again, Lord. This time I'll be grateful. Also, I do need to go back real quick because I did erase this hand that I forgot to select. Wait, no, the hand's fine. Where's the hand? I swear to God, I had a hand here. There it is. I knew I wasn't imagining that. Wait, leave empty layer. Did we not have anything in here? Huh. Fancy that. But yeah, you can use bags of tea for mouth gauze. I didn't know that you could do that. But if you're for whatever reason like bleeding from the mouth all of a sudden, you can actually just put a bag of tea under the sink, get most of the water out, and then slide it into wherever it's bleeding, and that will act as like a little bit of gauze. It's super handy. I actually had to use it a little bit ago for a completely unrelated reason. I don't remember why the inside of my mouth was bleeding. Wait, no, I do remember why. It's because I bit my cheek during my sleep, and I used that trick to kind of like patch it up while I was at work, and it worked. The tea absorbs the blood for the next time you use it. Huh. That's true. I wonder if that'll be like a hit with vampires. I don't know. I feel like it would be a little bit of. I don't know how comfortable some vampires would be. Look, vampires can drink your blood, right? This is known. How comfortable or picky are they with other vital fluids? You know, like stuff from your liver or like is spittle from your mouth still like gross to them, or is it like ranch? Is it something that like some of them like, some of them don't like, right? Is it like mayonnaise where like some of them don't like it when it's just by itself, but like when it's like, how do you feel about stomach acid, Chief? God, that would be that's an interesting point of discussion, right? Because if it's like exclusively blood, then obviously no. If it's exclusively blood, the spittle might not still be a total deal breaker, right? Because even though they drink blood, right? Like the classic bite your neck, suck your blood kind of thing, right? That should still have like one or two stray things going on in there. You know, it's blood is just like plasma. It's got like water. It's got like the blood cells and everything. It depends on like what they derive the nutrients from. Which, no. The problem is that it's also like magic bullshit, right? So it's not necessarily like it's also it's I don't think you can always like rules lawyer your way out of it. It's about like the intent behind it. So it depends on whether we're dealing with scientific or pure magical bullshit vampires. I need to read fucking what's that thing that Arkwade is originally from? I forgot about the name of it. It's not Mahoya. That's a different thing. It's hang on. Nasuverse works. Type Moon works. It's fucking Tsukihime. That's the one. Right? I forgot where I was going with this. Anyway, right. So if you're dealing with like Tsukihime stuff, I need to read Tsukihime just so I understand how its vampires works. Because I feel like they do vampires weirdly different. If I remember my Fate Grand Order lore correctly, vampires are like weird in Type Moon universe. Not that they're normal in any other universe, but you know they have like a lot of non-classical vampire traits. Let's see. Is Nekoark considered a vampire too? I don't know, actually. We were talking about Nekoark in the server earlier, right? And I found out that Nekoark is actually like a Shadow the Hedgehog style bioengineered super weapon? Question mark? So I'm not sure if Nekoark is like a vampire. I would believe that the little beast drinks blood, but like, I don't know if it needs it for sustenance or if that's just a sick, perverted thing that it does for, you know, the psychological advantage. I would have no issue believing that the Nekoark can drink somebody's blood, but I don't think it's like a dietary requirement thing. Hang on, I'm gonna search up Nekoark's wiki page. Type Moon Wiki, please move off of Fandom Wiki. All right. Let's see. Okay, I kind of want to share the characteristics blurb of Nekoark. Hang on. Let me see if can I take a screenshot, please? Hang on, Control Shift S. Here we go. Copy. I kind of want to share Arkwade's Nekoark's characteristics section. Species, Neko. Gender. What? Height, 60 centimeters. Weight, 8 kilograms. 3 sizes. Take a steel drum that's lying around and put tape measure through the top, middle, and bottom. Unbelievable. I need to get on this grind set. Huh. Okay, I remember that vampires in the Type Moon universe are called true ancestors or something. And she has eye beams called the true ancestor beams. But I don't think that proves anything. If anything, I just have more questions. Okay, apparently there's some kind. The entire like Neko species is some kind of spirit or fairy. I don't want to think about this too much. We cannot get into this. I cannot. I feel like if I go on an off the cuff wiki dive of the Type Moon universe, I feel like I will be here for hours. That might be a fun thing to do later on, at another time and place and juncture, but not right now. I refuse. I will not do it. It's bad enough that I hang on. But yeah, I think we can pretty confidently say that whatever Nekoark actually is, one of the things they are not is a vampire. Maybe. It might be kind of like a Pillarman style situation where the Pillarmen are like ultra super mega vampires, and that's just kind of like what the Nekoarks are to every other organism in existence. It really is hard to say. I also did see somebody in V server start reading the JoJo Part 1, so I'm very excited to see the developments of that. The Pillarmen wouldn't last 5 minutes against Nekoark. In a fight, right? in a fight, right? Anyway, the I forgot the point I was trying to make. Sorry, I just got hit by a very intense visualization of the thing that I just kind of conjured into existence with my mouth. And not a fan of that shit at all. Can't say I can tell you that much. I know I'm the one who brought it up, but goddamn, I should have kept that to myself. All right. Hmm. Huh. This arm's starting to bother me a little bit. Maybe, hang on, maybe I need to point this the other way so that then it makes sense for not only the hand to be there. Hang on. Okay, I'm trying to figure out, like, what way this guy would be. Because he's obviously sprawled out like this, right? He's kind of like he's kind of that thing that cats do when they pretend that they're comfortable lying down somewhere, but you can tell that they are like in the most pretzel convoluted, most gerrymandered looking shape ever conceived of by a man or beast. He's like ragdolling. I could have very succinctly just said he's ragdolling, and I feel like I could have communicated the same thing. Okay. You know, for somebody who never like joined a Gmod server or did anything meaningful with it, I have a lot of hours down in Gmod just from dicking around as like a 12-year-old. My computer wasn't powerful enough to run Minecraft at the time, but it was powerful enough to run Gmod somehow. So I took full advantage of that. It fucks me up that Minecraft is such a resource-intensive game for computers. That shit should run on your system. Should take a toll on your system less than like Minesweeper now. I feel like you should be able to play Minecraft the way you can play Snake on old Nokia phones. That should be like a that's like my presidential platform is that I will nationalize Minecraft. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, and there we go. No, it's this line that I need to change up a little bit. There we go. That makes much more sense. Yeah, there are so many blocks. There are so many things. I remember the first time I played Minecraft after a long time, right? This was back in even before COVID, right? This is like 2019. I Somebody that I followed on Tumblr made a Minecraft server, and I joined in because I hadn't played Minecraft in a while, and I wanted to see what was up. And I got my shit rocked by one of those like flying stingray enemies because I'd never seen them before. Like they had been added in the time that I had not played Minecraft. So I was just losing my shit being hunted down by the phantoms. Not knowing at all what was happening. I was like fighting for my life, and everybody was like, "Oh hey, yeah, those are just phantoms. They appear if you don't go to bed at night." I'm like, ah. What would be really fucked up if like I was talking about the phantoms and somebody was like, "What are you talking about?" Like somebody who was like very recently playing Minecraft was like, "What are you talking about? That's not a mob that exists in Minecraft." That would be like my Twilight Zone episode idea. That's like how we would do a Twilight Zone reboot in 2023. is we yeah. If Twilight, if I do, I remember reading somewhere that they are trying to reboot the Twilight Zone. I feel like they do need to have, they will either they do need to have or they will have a gamer centric episode that's just like a plagiarized copy creepypasta off of like Reddit r/ no sleep. Somebody needs to make like a full feature length adaptation of the, in Blender or some shit. I feel like I don't know. I think like maybe having it be found footage film style. Actually, you know what would be actually a really good way to do it? There was a Twilight Zone reboot in 2019. Huh. Given the fact that it's been like 5 years, Jordan Peele was the host. Now it's coming back to me. I remember reading about that. I don't think anything came out of it, to be honest, because I feel like I haven't heard any news about it in months. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Cyberx, have you ever read the Godzilla NES game creepypasta? That was like my favorite creepypasta as a kid. The Godzilla NES game one. Forget Brent Brown. Forget fucking Jeff the Ziller or whatever his name was. Jeff the Rizzler. We cannot. No, no, I take it back. I'm sorry. I can't speak that into existence. I'm sorry. I will not take responsibility for that. I cannot. I can't say that. Okay. A long time ago, I did think it was scary because all I could think of was Godzilla could beat this thing in a fight. me seeing Godzilla -1 at all times being like, Godzilla could sweep an NES cartridge easy. Yeah. I feel like that's actually one of the few stories that would work really, really well if somebody adapted it into a live stream as like a medium of storytelling. Like we talk all the time about like the potential of live streaming as a storytelling product. And we've seen that shit fumbled with stuff like Silent Hill Ascension. I feel like whenever I speak that thing's name, I need to throw salt around on the ground to kind of like purge out a bad spirit. But anyway, you know, I feel like that's like a story centered around a playthrough of a game could very easily well be done through a live stream medium. It would be a lot more difficult to. The issue then is, I feel like that's still not taking the full advantage of like live streaming as a medium though, because it's for something like that, it would have very limited audience interaction. I mean, no, you could actually engineer that in a way, couldn't you? Something to chew on, I guess. Because I think the haunted video game style of creepy storytelling is still alive and well. I've seen stuff like Amanda's Adventure and well, no, I guess that's like a VHS thing, right? Not an actual video game creepypasta. But hmm, I'll have to look more into it, right? I feel like there's very few examples. The problem is I did try to do my own research into, streaming as a storytelling medium. And I maybe I'm being too strict with my standards, or maybe I'm not looking for in the right places. I wasn't able to find examples of what I was looking for. The closest thing that I can think of is actually Half-Life VR, but the AI is sentient. Anyone who does a haunted live stream has to commit to the bit and have no social presence. Only stream at weird times or stream once and never do it again. True, 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 true. No, you're absolutely correct. Yeah. Commitment to the bit and being difficult to get a hold of, I think, would be ideal conditions, actually. Not too difficult, right? You don't want to. I'm just trying to think of like the production value that this would need to have, right? Theoretically, 0. You could just make a ROM hack, play it through, and add some basic effects. I'm not thinking even of like as a VTuber space, right? I'm thinking of like just some basic stuff that you could do with like a camera. Although I guess being a VTuber might help a little bit. It's an exciting idea, but I don't think I'm going to be the one to do at least a horror one. Or maybe I could. I'm not interested in doing that kind of thing, though. It's the problem. I I did need to sneeze just now. That's why I cut off so quickly, but let's see. Yeah, that belt will work. Everything slowly fades out until the VTuber model is just left staring at the screen for hours, only for it to jerkily move and the stream cuts out. That would be an actually really good ending. Come to think of it, because of all the it kind of gives me an idea, right? Because I don't use a Live 2D model anymore, but whenever Live 2D models kind of go into their neutral state, I know that you can set up a toggle to make them have like an idle animation when they're not being piloted, so to speak. I feel like you could really use that well for something like a haunted story. Or at least for the in terms of implications, it's really good. And kind of like how you said, everything fades out until the VTuber model is left staring, but then suddenly it just comes back to life after it's been implied that the quote unquote original pilot. I like to use the word pilot for VTuber models. It feels like it's the only appropriate one. Because Puppeteer also feels appropriate, but I don't know. I feel like when I start to pilot, I do feel like when I was doing a live 2D model, I was piloting it. We're basically puppeteers. Yeah. I switched to. I did switch to a PNG tuber again because I'm not a fan of puppeteers. You know, it did have this kind of nagging fear that perhaps someone else, a third person, was tugging at the strings, so to speak. Wreaking anarchy and all that brings. And well, you know, your boy couldn't sit idly once I got that thought in my head. But somehow it feels that I haven't moved at all. It's puppets all the way down. Yeah, it's that astronaut meme being like, "Wait, it's all puppets? Always has been." I guess that's also true for stuff like some stage shows and such, isn't it? Also, hi, Adept. All right, what was I doing with the right the grenade? The grenade that I was using to right. I also need to add this guy's sheath. What did the grenade design look like again? Hang on, I have I had it in my references, I think. Here we go. All right, yep, now I remember. These look a little bit like metals, too. Ponloki. I wonder, could I get away with... No, I couldn't be... I would not be able to get away with angling this thing. You know, just using this PNG of it. I don't think I'd be able to get away with that. Although I do think for the sake of... how do we say this? This is not the right layer. I'm going to take a sip of water. All right. I did want to have the handle right around here. Although it would have to be a little bit smaller. I need to make sure that it would like fit in her hand, for example, comfortably. Okay. Then go like this. Oh, all right. Here's a question for you. What's the weirdest kind of alternative milk that you've ever run across, right? Because we're like spoiled for choice these days. We got almond milk, we got soya milk, we got other types of fancy nut milks, we got types of oat milks, we got coconut milk. That's always been there, but you know, that it's an option. I feel like coconut milk isn't really a milk alternative though. I feel like that's just more of its own thing. Probably some mammal you wouldn't expect to normally be able to milk. Ah, that's true. I did learn once upon a time that pigeons produce this thing called crop milk. So you can't milk birds, right? Obviously, they're not mammals. But pigeons do produce this thing called crop milk, which is like this highly nutritious but very gross substance that has a lot of the same properties that, like, you know how like breast milk actually has like some some nutrients in there that, not really nutrients, but effectively some bacteria that help the child develop and grow, right? Or like establish the gut flora or whatever for the child. Apparently, crop milk has that same idea, but it's like this regurgitated stomach vomit that birds produce. So it's very gross, and it's definitely not fit for human consumption. But it is called milk, so I guess it sort of qualifies. I did read the other day about... So, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like when I learned about like alternative milks, I was both one, too much of a dumbass, and two, not as sufficiently like the concept wasn't sufficiently introduced for me, right? When I learned about soy milk, I didn't know what soy was at the time. I didn't like understand it conceptually. So I thought it was just like a different method of processing that just like made it vegan or something. I also didn't know what a vegan was. As you can imagine, my first time watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was a rather entertaining experience for everybody present. I learned about like almond milk, right? I was super confused about how you could like milk a nut. But eventually somebody did explain it to me, right? It's not that they milk the nut, it's that they... Come to think of it, I still don't fully understand how almond milk works, per se. Yeah, it's more so they're crushed into liquid. I feel like that's correct. Yeah. After learning about almond milk, though, I feel like everything else is just kind of like mid, right, in terms of a surprise. Like, I read about oat milk, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. That was actually much more mundane to me. I've never been a huge oat guy, right? But for a little while, I did have to eat them pretty regularly. And I got much more acquainted with like the mechanics of oatmeal than I ever thought I would have in the approximately 24 years that I've been on Earth. Milk promotes, sure, why not? Yeah, that was like my reaction. I was like, fuck it, they'll milk just about anything these days. It was just like another card to me. Yeah, they've been milking all kinds of things lately. I read about this one food tech startup from Austria called Wunderkern, which specializes in making like plant derived food products or like alternative stuff. Like they've managed to make milk from apricot stones, like apricot pits, which was very impressive to me. I didn't know that those could be used for anything. I've never really eaten many apricots. I've never been a huge apricot guy, but I am impressed that they managed to make something from like the pit of it. I wonder if you could make milk from peach pits too. I feel like that would go pretty hard. Yeah, from what I read, they did all kinds of stuff with the apricorn milk too. They turned it into like an ice cream. They turned it into like this drink that had cocoa and bourbon vanilla, which sounded really effing good. I want some. Peach pits are just rocks that trick fruit to grow around them. True. Fact. Peach pits made up their backstory just to make you feel bad for them. God. They also made oils, I think, from the apricot kernels and stuff like cherry pits, plum kernels, stuff like that. Again, really cool is the thing. Like I hadn't thought of this until today, right? When I learned about these alternative uses for fruit pits, but I never really thought about what happens to the stuff like maraschino cherries, right? Like candied cherries. I never once thought about what happens to the pits that they take out of them. Right? I never really stopped to consider like what happened to that as a waste byproduct. Also, I should probably just make this using a normal circle. Wait, no, I shouldn't. Or yes, I. Okay, I am conflicted on whether or not I should or shouldn't. That is really thick. But maybe that could work. No, I don't think it can. But we can make this line thinner. But yeah, I'd never stopped to think about like what happens to the waste products of stuff like cherry pits and such. I do think it's quite beneficial, right? Because I feel like if they are just going to go right in the trash, it's worth saving them and recycling them into something else. Apparently, sometimes fruit pits are used as seasoning. Just grind them up. It isn't. Yeah, that's cool though, dude. The first time I learned that you could eat flowers, I was so hyped for that. Where did these two lines come from? What is this supposed to be? Oh, it's the scabbard. Right, 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 right. Yeah. And I feel like turning them into food products is a really beneficial thing, right? Particularly stuff like milk alternatives, because, I think oats and soya are both pretty sustainable as products, but almonds, not so much. I do know almonds are kind of bad for, I know the process of cultivating almonds is actually pretty resource intensive. So it's good that we have options, right? Yeah. I did see a study that talked about the possibility of turning cherry pits from industrial zones into basically charcoal, right? You seal it in like this oxygen-free environment for a little while, heat it up, and eventually it turns into biochar. And that's actually a heat sink too, because it's not it what the kind of carbon in the cherry stays right there in the charcoal rather than being released into the environment. I think somewhere in the Great Lakes, they tried to do an experiment where they checked out if they could use it to kind of purify the water and assist with some of the runoff that occurs in the area there. Yeah. Pyrolysis is such a weird is such like an alchemical fucking thing. Like, you're gonna tell me you just put this thing in an environment without oxygen and heat it up and it transforms into something magical. Alright, sure, bud. Why don't you tell me about werewolves next? I don't know. Some chemical processes are like super technical, and then there's stuff like pyrolysis and electrolysis, which is just like, yeah, we ran an electrical current through this thing and now it's something else. Ain't that nuts? I'm like, my brother in Christ, you should be searching for the Philosopher's Stone. Not doing whatever the fuck you're doing here. Bro, the Masons need you. Oh, yeah. There is an ad starting soon, so watch out. Yeah, just duck your heads and cover your ears when the ad begins, and it'll all be over soon. Yeah, literally just burn it. You don't even need to think about it that hard. Just burn that thing. All right, we're going to add the little things here. A little bit of maximum effort on these grenades and these panels, right? Just a tiny bit amount of maximum effort, because we do want to have them be... All right, let's connect these lines. We do want to have them be very clearly visible to the reader. Their purpose should be pretty obvious from... Well, I should at least hope that their purpose is obvious once they're activated. Whenever I design weapons and stuff like grenades, I do wonder about my... I do get a little bit self-conscious about my own ability to kind of interpret concepts and objects. Like, I do wonder, right, does this look enough like a grenade, right? Like, does this thing need to explode before people will be like, oh, that's a grenade? Because when I was designing this thing, right, I thought it looked a lot like those like roll out tape measures that they have in some places. Yeah, you can see a little bit of the development process on this thing here. I went through a couple of different iterations. This one was based on like this World War I German grenade that literally just looks like a turtle. It is kind of wild. Let me hang on. M1915 discus grenade. It literally looks like the most silly ass thing on the planet. This thing. This is what the discus design was based on. You don't actually throw it like a discus. Surprisingly, you have to like throw it like in a rolling way, because when you unpin the cap here, first like a safety thingy jig inside the center of it needs to roll out, and then it needs to tumble onto one of these 6 brass locks to activate the ignition or whatever, which is unideal in a high stress environment. But I just turned it into like a more updated version. I still want to do something with the horseshoe design, with a horseshoe grenade at some point. Which I joked with Raph that somebody would try to throw it from like the kind of U shape here. From like I actually did research how to throw horseshoes for the sake of this. It turns out that you need to grab them from here and then throw them, rather than grab them from here like a boomerang. And we joke that if somebody throws it like a boomerang, it'll come right back like, watch this, boys! Kaboom. How long do you think it took before soldiers in like World War I started using grenades for like party tricks? I feel like it would have at least been like a couple of weeks until they... Actually, no. Grenades are actually surprisingly old, aren't they? I know the Greeks actually had grenade likes. I'm not going to call them like actual grenades because they didn't quite have a fuse. They were just like ceramic bottles with Greek fire in there that lit stuff on fire pretty good. So I hesitate to call those grenades as we kind of like know them in the traditional sense. They were more like Molotov cocktails with even fewer steps, believe it or not. Bro, imagine you're like filling a bottle with gasoline and putting a rag in there, and like some fucking reincarnated Greek dude is like, "You're overthinking this." Special Greek fire provided by Prometheus. Don't worry about what happened to him afterwards. It's fine. You can chill about that. Don't pay attention to the eagle flying overhead. I'm sure that's just I'm sure that's an omen of our victory. Don't pay attention about how it's flying back, seemingly much more full and with a little bit of blood around its beak. Don't pay attention to that either. I'm sure it just found like a bowl or something. Let's see. I will say I'm not super well versed in Warhammer 40k lore, but I will say that they kind of popped off with calling like their universe's version of gasoline Promethium. Like that is a sick as hell name. That is a super cool name for fuel. Although it does seem a little bit insensitive to the Greek god in question, but or no, wait, Prometheus was like a titan or something, right? He wasn't a god. Mhm. Yeah, this makes more sense. Yeah, he was a titan. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Whenever I think about like what I remember and what I forget, I have like this irrational fear that someday I'll have to remember the numbers to my debit/credit card, like the serial numbers on there, and I won't be able to recall them because I never bothered learning them. Like I have like this weird fear of like being put in a situation where I'll have to remember a number that is like relevant to identify me or something like that, and I won't be able to say it off the top of my head. Like when I was a kid, my parents drilled into me my passport number, and I'm like, oh god, if I don't remember this, they're gonna kick me out of the country. Me when I was like 5. They do that to 5-year-olds. I'm not gonna laugh about that actually. In any case, that is like one of the fears that I have is that I'll just forget a number that's supposed to be important, or like it'll be revealed that I didn't memorize it, and it turns out that everybody else has, and I will be like legally prosecuted for it. Okay, man. Me when I didn't know my social security number for like 5 years after graduating college. Hmm. I mean, it's fine right now if I don't need to, if I don't know my soch, because I am getting it renewed pretty soon. Is that supposed to be information you're not supposed to give out? Am I not supposed to say that? Oh my god. Oh shit. Wait. No, I think it's fine if you could. I didn't know you could renew it. Ah, yeah, mine's a little bit of a special situation. Thankfully, I don't think I will have to renew it much more after I renew it this next time. So it is a little bit of a. I don't think you need to worry about renewing it because, like I said, it is a little bit of a special situation for me and my own circumstances. So I don't think that's. I forgot that was what I guess it's not so much that I'm renewing the number itself, so much as I'm renewing the certificate of it. I guess this. There we go. This fabric fold was throwing me off for a second there. Are we like? Hang on. Are we cool with this panel? Are we? Am I done here? I might be. Hmm. Maybe just one more thing of detail, just a little bit of this dude's armpit. All right, let's look at it together and without the references. We need to get rid of this thing. Yeah, I'd say that looks pretty good. Maybe just one more thing, which is like bumping the... very obviously bumping the hand to the grenade here. All right, we can move on to the next panel then. I also need to get rid of the reference I have here. Is that here? Yes. Perfect. Ugh. I remember that this was the era when I accidentally thought that using a milli brush for the drafts was a good idea. I learned I don't remember how long after this it was that I realized that using milli brush all the time was just not very helpful. Oh, wait, no, there is some line variance here. It just looks like that. Wait, so what the hell? Whoops. All right, well, I guess I just dissed myself for no reason. That happens. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you own, and sometimes you get owned. And sometimes the dude that owns you is just your past self who was actually in much better shape than you thought. I do. The weird thing is that whenever I do make proper preparations, I feel very vindicated. Like that's a big motivation for me to like properly prepare for an event is to feel vindicated when something that I prepared comes in handy. It's the best feeling. Like I remember I weirdly enough, I did used to bring a roll of duct tape with me every day to school when I was in middle school and high school. And almost invariably, whenever I pulled it out, somebody would be like, I don't know why you have that, but I'm really glad you do. And I'll be like, yeah, you like my product. It's something like the feeling of outplaying reality. It's like you thought it's like you made the it's like going up to fate itself and being like, so you thought you could catch me lacking, huh? It's just a very good feeling. God, I remember the time. Hang on, the time it came in handy the most was this one time. We had like this student lounge right in my school. We had like this small room where all like the kids of a specific grade range could hang out for a little bit between classes or like during lunch, right? And one of the things that happened one time, we had furniture in there too, right? And one of the things we had was this old kind of like this very strange chair, come to think of it, a very unconventional chair. It basically had the wood kind of in one solid chunk so that whenever you would sit on it, the wood right here would kind of be more flexible and it would basically be like a rocking chair almost, but with a single piece of wood rather than like a whole setup. Right? And, you know, my friends, being dumbass teenage boys that they were, decided to jump to like bounce around on it like cowboys. So naturally it snapped to pieces, the flexible part here. And that's when the tape came out. You want to talk about like IPS North Star aesthetics? That's that was a really good example of it. We had chairs like that at one point, or at least similar. The bonding power of duct tape. That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah. It's like that one saying, the man who sleeps with a machete under his pillow is a fool every night but one. I do think a podcast guy said that one, but I don't remember which one it was. It was probably a McElroy. No, it was definitely a McElroy. I remember like that being attributed to to one of the McElroy brothers. It was Justin, yeah. Bam! Nice one, memory. All right. Here we go. In a nicer universe, in a kinder universe, in this panel, she would be holding a nice, delicious donut, or perhaps a rice ball, or perhaps a rice ball that got translated as a donut because of localization reasons. I still feel like it was rightful that we never let the localizers live that joke down. I feel like like calling rice balls jelly filled donuts. I feel like we rightfully roasted the localization team for that one. It's one of those moments where they were like, yeah, no, let's just go with it, and it worked. But at the same time, it was so ridiculous. You don't get stuff like that anymore. You just got Alex Lee voicing some random extra in an anime being baited into saying beast mode. Listen, they had 1 year to translate more than 150 episodes. You know, on the other hand, I might be being too cruel to them. That is a lot to do in 1 year. I extend my apologies for my previous words and actions. Nobody should have to do that. Ugh. Now I'm just thinking about the amount of work that would have to entail. Ugh. Yeah, no, they were right for that. You know, I would go so far as to say we didn't deserve the jelly-filled donuts. Actually, I could kind of go for some donuts right now. The problem with thinking about donuts for me is that whenever I think about donuts, I instantly go, man, I could go for a donut right now. It is like a mimetic agent to me. If I think about donuts, I will want a donut. I don't get this with a whole lot of other foods. Like whenever I think about hamburgers, I don't actually want a hamburger. This is a problem exclusive to pastry. Homer Simpson syndrome. Oh, ultimate success of donut marketing. That's right. God, I wish I had what Homer Simpson has: a loving family, a car, seeming indestructibility when drunk, or just seeming apparent indestructibility in period. I fucking wish I was Homer Simpson. It's incredible that Homer Simpson was like conceived of as like this fucking loser, nobody of a family man, and then over time he's just slowly become more and more respectable as our standards have been lowered. It used to be like, man, look at this slob who doesn't know how to take care of himself and only has like one car, and now it's like, man, I wish I had a car. Man, I wish I had enough. I wish I had enough food on the plate to be a fat slob. Oh God. Yeah. Homer owns a house? God, I wish that were me. Man, I feel like The Simpsons is like now a national institution. I feel like people complain a lot that like the newest seasons of The Simpsons, except from Ryu from Streets, I believe, he is a very vocal supporter of it. But you know, apparently like the newer seasons of The Simpsons don't hit quite as good as the original ones, which I wouldn't know about because I've never seen The Simpsons. I haven't like I've never like caught The Simpsons right on TV. I think that it was like one time, and my parents then forbade me from watching it. I don't remember why precisely, but I can kind of understand. I understand in some regards why, because I feel like The Simpsons isn't something you should regularly show to a child. Forbidden Simpsons. I mean, I could have had it worse, right? At least I didn't have parents that banned their kids from watching fucking SpongeBob, right? Like I can find it perfectly justifiable to stop a kid from watching The Simpsons, all things considered. Thank God I never got into South Park. I praise the Lord every single day. I remember my brother tried watching some South Park episodes, and he showed me a couple of them, and I actually got scared during them because they were like like these episodes were like they were like giant gerbils for some reason, and for some reason those freaked me the fuck out as a child. Like just seeing these giant gerbils in the context of like a children's, well, I what I had thought at the time was a children's cartoon. God. I should have. It's good that I had that instinct, though. It's good that instinct saved me from that show. I tried watching some episodes of it later on, and I'm like, man, this is just not fucking funny. I don't find the humor in this. Also, this grenade is way too fucking big. I remember when my brother watched it plenty of times, and I was like, oh, why are we watching this? Like, my man, Phineas and Ferb is on the TV right now. We could be watching that shit instead. Instead of, I don't know, what's like the average synopsis for a South Park episode? I don't even know that much. I feel like the average synopsis for a South Park episode is the same as like a Seinfeld episode, except with more slurs. Let's see. Should it be even smaller? The children are racist for shock humor. Yeah, I figured as much. No, it needs to be even smaller, I think. Small your disc. Maybe, yeah, around this much would probably be fine. It's a shame that I already drew so much of it, but that's fine. I can just kind of we'll do a little bit of a line graft right here. Oh yeah. Moving on moving on to something else, right? I was talking about that weirdly designed chair earlier, right? From not even weirdly designed, just that like unique chair from my school's like break room. I found out the other day about this fucking thing called a Hawaii chair, which that was like the market name for it. And let me show you a picture of it. I don't know if anybody's heard of this thing. I certainly haven't before today, right? Hang on. So the idea of it, the thrust of the Hawaii chair was that it was like this motorized desk chair that would, oh, here's a picture of one. All right. So let me break down the construction of a Hawaii chair. Oh, this is a nicer picture. Let me break down the construction of it. So the idea behind the Hawaii chair was that you would sit the fucking rolling droid from Star Wars. Bro, what if this thing? What if you walked into somebody's office and when you sat down on this thing, it like said Roger, Roger. That's not what the rolling droid said, was it? That's just what like the normal droid said. The droid Deca, that's what these things. I see it. I totally see it. Oh my god. Hang on. What if I? Can I like? Hold on. Am I gonna? I don't care if I get in TOS trouble for this. Actually, hang on. How do we scale this thing? It's the perspective is a little off too. Hang on. while I do this stupid ass thing that I'm about to do, I'll elucidate a little bit more on what the Hawaii chair actually is, right? So what it is that this black bar right here, like this black cylinder here, is actually a motor. And what it does is that whenever you turn on the chair, you can turn this thing on, by the way, not sexually, but like you can activate the chair. Whenever you activated the motor, this bun here, like the seat of it, would start rotating around in like a gyrating motion with the intent of essentially working out your abs while you were sitting down. That was that was like the idea behind the Hawaii chair. You can look up on YouTube. I'm not going to be able to play this right now because I don't want to pull up the browser source. But you can look up Hawaii chair on YouTube, like Hawaii motorized chair, and you will be able to see it. It was like genuinely kind of dumb. I think it was on the Ellen show one time when she tried it out. So yeah, you're essentially paying like the equivalent of like $500 to have a mechanical bull in your office that gave you motion sickness. And I was talking about the fucking rickety chair from my high school rec room. Reminded me of that a lot. Okay, we've almost completely extricated the woman from from the awful chair and into her newer, much better chair. Yeah, free her. All right. There's still a little bit here that I want to clean up real quick. There we go. All right, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. Let me merge these two together, and then that way I can just select everything around here. With some exceptions. Hang on. We're gonna need to do some cleanup after we finish the transplant, but that's fine. That's just post-op. The interns can take care of that. All right. Then we grab this part. Oh, whoops. Wrong way around. All right, we grab this part, this part, this part. Okay, now we invert this, deselect the one on the right here. Copy, paste, and ideally, now we shall see the fruits of our labor. All right. Issue 1, she's too huge. We need to make her smaller. Issue 2, hang on. We need to remove the original imposter. All right, then we need to move the droideca a little bit around here. I do think it might need to be smaller, actually. There we go. And taller, too. All right, we're almost there. I can feel it. We're so close to being there. We're genuinely like 2 or 3 more transformation tool applications away from being there. Boom. There we go. And we can use a little bit of the liquefy tool to... Hang on. Need to... No, we need to shrink this part. No, opposite way around. We need to... Hang on. We need to move like the spine of this thing, so to speak. Not bad for like 5 minutes of Photoshop, not gonna lie. This is probably gonna be my end of stream announcement picture. Okay, let me just add a little bit of a drop shadow right here, and then we'll be good to go. Where did the droid decker go? Oh, there we are. All right. We do good work here at Pabs art, Pabs underscore art, Twitch.tv. You know, I like to think that I improve the world a little bit every day. This is my contribution for tonight. Okay, and then here we go. Perfect. All right, we move the trigger up here. And then just close it off up at the top over here. Perfect, okay. And actually, come to think of it, something that might also help the grenade is if I make the firing pin here a little bit more thick. Or a little bit more solid. What is like the grenade? This is a little bit too high up. I need to make it intersect with the actual metal here. There we go. What does like the the pin mechanism on a grenade look like? Okay, when I looked up grenade pin, I got enamel pins of grenades. Not what I was looking for precisely. Oh yeah, I actually learned while I was doing research for the design of the grenade that grenades are also used as a sort of emblem, where they have like the kind of old school bottle shape and a gout of fire spilling out from the top. It's very cool looking. There's actually this design that I saw on the Wikipedia page. Hang on. Grenade emblem. There was like this really cool one. Yeah, this one. I really like this one for some reason. I also like it a lot because you can see the kind of room that was photographed in thanks to the little reflective part here. Yeah, this apparently was the result of a military academy that's in France. A glimpse behind the camera. Okay, based on all of these things, I don't think I need to worry about it too hard. I think the main thing is that it's got actually a couple of things behind it here. And then not this, not that either. Definitely not. Well, maybe this. Oh, okay, it was in my browser. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, and then there we go. For this one, I can use a circle. I'm not going to feel bad using a circle for this one. There we go. I was talking about Minecraft earlier. I know that there are all kinds of mods out there for Minecraft, right? But I think the only truly perverse mods that exist in like the Minecraft Forge Nexus or whatever are the ones that put actual circles in Minecraft. I think those are just a different kind of malicious. Like, if you do those, I am automatically like distrustful of you. Not even like if you do those on purpose. Yeah, it's like breaking the rules. It makes me super uncomfortable. I can't. No, I guess I can't really cast a moral judgment or like personhood right on the kind of people who use those mods. But it just makes me mega uncomfortable. Like if I saw my buddy at school adding Minecraft mods that added actual circles into Minecraft, I would ask him if everything was okay at home. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Okay, now we have to do another one. Okay, then over here. How are we doing for time? Oh my. All right. I think we can finish up. Hmm. Let's try to finish up the rough parts of like this guy here, and I think that'll be the main goal before the end of the night. I kind of want to either shrink his head or his neck to avoid making a tangent with the part here. Okay. Then okay, we'll make the bend around here. There we go. Huh. Talking about the Hawaii chair again, I wonder if anybody's ever tried to do like a weird office chair tier list. The problem with something like that, I feel like it would be very vibes based. I feel like it would be very difficult to have an objective tier list for that. Like obviously the Hawaii chair would be pretty low on the list, no matter what kind of metrics you were using. But I mean, I guess that's what like those articles being like, these are the best office chairs of 2023. You know, that's what those are for, right? Just to kind of inform you on the nature of those things. I don't know. It feels like it's more and more difficult to trust articles like that though, because you don't know which ones of them are like industry plants, basically. It's like whenever you look up like there are benefits and downsides to a lot of like businesses having to do search engine optimization by creating content on their kind of in-house blogs, right? The benefit is that sometimes they do have actually good information. Like there are a couple of instances where I've had to like look up like a legal thing, and it was a law firm that actually made the article that I read, and you know, they at the end of it they were like, how can I avoid these problems? And they're like, well, you should hire us. So obviously they had to, they had to fit in a little shameless plug. I'm not going to begrudge them for that. get that bag. But the issue is that nowadays that we have like AI shit kind of coming in hot, and even before then, you could see a lot of like just bloat from people making random piss poor articles on things that they were barely interested in, just so that they could get a little bit more search engine optimization. That's why nowadays if you want to like get a proper recommendation, you kind of have to put your faith in the perverts on Reddit and their whims, which might be drastically different to yours depending on the situation. And the problem with that is that it's very difficult to not get caught up in the psychology of it too, right? Because the problem is that if you see, for example, like a product with a lot of good reviews, but you see one product review that kind of like pans the product and calls it pure garbage, and that oh mine came in broken. It like it the mailman who delivered it fucking ran over through my fence and it crashed through the wall of my abode, causing a gas leak to ignite and instantly erasing our family home, which we had owned for more than 20 years, and also like my grandmother's urn, which is also obliterated in the crash. And you're like, damn, I kind of want to keep my grandmother's urn. I don't know if I want to risk that. Funnily enough, my grandmother does have an urn. Both of them do. Or at least, no, I think one of them is like proper. No, wait, no, one of them's still alive. Both of my grandfather. Wait, no, I don't think one of my grandfathers. I think one of my grandfathers was like properly buried, and the other one was cremated. Or we have somebody's urns at my grandmother's house, but I forget whose they are. I think they were there before my grandfather passed away. But it's hard for me to say whose they are precisely. My memory is just not that good. I do know we had my grandfather's saber there. I remember finding that when I was a kid, and I was like, holy shit, Grandpa has a sword! This is awesome! Uh, compulsory military service in Ecuador was kind of a bummer, but at least you had an opportunity to get a cool sword out of it for a while. Man, let me tell you, that was like one of the biggest concerns for me growing up too. I was super worried that eventually they would like recall me into Ecuador to make me do the compulsory military service. But then like they abolished it before I turned into 18. I was like, yes. Shit works out for the Papster once again. Yeah. I was like, glad I don't need to worry about that question anymore. I forget if they also abolished that in Korea. I remember South Korea has a pretty famous thing for having compulsory military service, but I don't remember like if it's been abolished yet. I think it might still be ongoing. Hang on. Compulsory military service, Korea. Hmm. Yep, existed since 1957. Yeah, it seems like it's still ongoing in South Korea. I remember that was a big thing with like watching pro StarCraft stuff where like players eventually having to go do their military services and stop for a while. God, that is kind of crazy. Imagine your Oshi graduates because they have to go they get drafted. Oh, they actually grade you on your fitness for service. Huh. Interesting. God. I feel like we all knew like one dude whose life plan was to like somehow get into the Marines. Like I did not grow up in the States, but I still had a guy who that I knew whose life plan was to just like join the Marines at some point. God. I always think of that one Vine with that super skinny kid that was like, "You're talking to a future United States Marine." Ay, Dios mío. Kids will say the darndest things. All right. Oh, we actually need to do the one over here instead. That actually is a little bit more useful because I can cover that up with the arm. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, we can erase this part here. Is it weird that I'm kind of sad that I can't add the fact that I dodged the Ecuadorian draft to my bio now? I feel like that would have been a really funny story to be able to tell. I'm glad I don't have to be the one to tell it, but like I feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. No, conscription is different from a draft. Is the thing, right? Like a draft is just like calling everybody who is able to serve, and a conscription is just like saying, okay, once you turn this age, you have to try out the military add it to my resume. I mean, I could. I don't know what that would communicate though. The problem is that if I add that to my resume, I feel like that would like make me come off as a flaker, right? You don't want to give that impression. I think you say you dodged the draft in your interview, and they don't really care about like the legal aspects of it. They're like, not a team player. Okay, well, I thank you for your time today. Let's see. Okay. I wouldn't even argue, especially because it's like a foreign military service conscription. I feel like they would not only understand, but if you spin it the right way, you could actually go towards showing that you're a very like a motivated person, right? You could easily spin that into a story of kind of like self conquering. I wasn't worried about it, but I decided that I had to stick to my guns. I had to uphold my own principles, and I had to dodge. I forget. Is it cool to talk about dodging drafts? Is that against TOS? I say a lot of dumb shit, but it very rarely gets to like the implications of the legal implications of dodging a draft or dodging conscription, I guess. All right, let's see here. I guess if you have to do mandatory military conscription, it makes sense to do it when you're younger rather than when you're older, right? Like if you do that when you're older, you're not only kind of competing against your own kind of biological, you know, I don't know, a 30-year-old guy could probably still run it as decently as like a 20-year-old guy probably, but I feel like as you get older, you will get more commitments, and it's going to be more and more difficult to kind of like take the time out to go do that service. So it makes sense that most people will choose to do it at least sometime when they turn 18. Okay, put this here, put this here. Actually, make this a little thicker. Okay. The problem is that this looks a little bit odd with the rest of this guy's body. What I need is some kind of thing signifying that, kind of like a signification of foreshortening. I guess I could make the belt smaller. That's an option for sure. And then lower it a little bit. Yeah, like that. Hmm. The benefit of this is that I don't need to draw as much as the second grenade, so I guess we'll go with it. What the heck? I also need to remember to draw the sheath for the dagger. I remember there's a difference between a sheath and a scabbard, and that the scabbard has like a solid structure, and the sheath is more like loosey-goosey. It's more made out of flappy materials. I think that was the main difference, at least. That's how I distinguish them. Like, hang on, let me look up scabbard and... Hang on, scabbard. Okay, so this is a scabbard, and this is a sheath. So it does look like the scabbard at least does have like some additional components. It's at least it's not made of metal, but it does seem to have metal studding. Hang on, scabbard versus sheath. Sheaths are smaller and used for shorter blades, such as knives and daggers, whereas scabbards are used for longer swords. Ah, so it's not a question of materials, it's a question of utility. Or purpose, I guess. So that's the difference. I should bear that in mind. I don't want to accidentally head to the function of the castle, being the guest of the Duke, and get made fun of by the knights there for not knowing the difference between a scabbard and a sheath. God, that would be the most embarrassing thing ever. Like I turn up near the knights table and I'm like, "Yo, that's a cool sheath. I like the embossment on it." And they're like, "Sheath? This is a scabbard, you fucking idiot!" And they all laugh, and it echoes and reverberates around the room because they're still in their armor, even though it's like a dinner. They eat through their armor. I never know how knights do that. Yeah, there's no coming back from that one. All the maidens at the castle were there too. Fuck, man, it's over for me. I'm ruined. God. All right, let's see here. There has to be a point where I can like bisect these things. There we go. Intersect these things. Bisect means a different thing. Hold up. I need to raise this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, we're gonna do a quick thing for the handle on this one. And after that, I think we should be good to close out at least this left-hand side of the art for this panel. No, wait, hang on. Something about the perspective is throwing me off here. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to see the curvature on this one just yet, I feel. Or if we did, it would be like right here. Yeah, okay. Let's keep it a little bit more neutral for now. If that's the case, we might as well make the one on this side a little bit longer too, just so it doesn't look unnatural. It'll be just a tiny itty bitty little bit off model, but since when has that been a priority? Okay, we are going to add this. There we go. Yeah, okay. Then we can add the other side of the grip here. Oh, this is perfect, actually. Although, it's still a little bit high up. We can bring it down just a little bit more. At least relative to the rest of the body, right? Okay, join this part here. Hang on. I've got a great idea. To kind of elaborate a little bit on the fact that this is a grenade. This is going to take a little minute. It's always amused me a little bit that some... Well, not really amused me. It amused me until I thought about it for like 5 seconds. You know how like some anti-personnel mines will have like something like this side towards enemy? Similar idea here. There we go. Here we go. Just gonna finish up this lettering here. Wow. No, that needs to be an R. I almost actually drew an H there. Okay, and then just a Y over here. I need to make this like very thin lined so it looks right. All right, we are coming up on an ad, so make sure to plug your ears for 30 seconds. Okay, then these ones here, this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one there. Screw it, all of you can get a little bit of it. Thankfully, with the power of being subscribed, I am immune to ads. Oh, that's true. I keep forgetting about the like benefits of being a subscriber. I'm not cringe, so I never lose subscriber, but I do forget the benefits of being a subscriber. Technically, I never get ads on my channel on my stuff either because I'm a Twitch automatically tier 3 subscribes you to your own channel as a matter of like admin stuff or like rights and stuff, just so you can use your own emotes, I suppose. So it is very funny to like look at my subscriptions and see that I am automatically subscribed to this one. I'm like, huh, I have a subscription up. I wonder for whom that is, and it's just for me. I'm like, oh yeah, this chuckle fuck. All right. God, that reminds me of those like jokes where it's like where somebody goes like, "Oh no, I'm late for school." Wait, I've graduated like 15 years ago. Shit, I'm a teacher. And then they have to book it. Those always hit me just right. In a similar vein, oh my god, I'm late for school. Wait, I graduated like 8 years ago. Wait, I'm a streamer. Yeah. Okay. We got this one here, and I think that should just about do us. Okay. I'll finish the rest of this panel, hopefully off stream. I don't want to have to... I'm really hoping to start working on coloring these last 4 pages sometime this week or next week. But besides that, let's see who all is streaming, actually. Or maybe I'll just end it here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to end it here. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your night. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Tomorrow I'll be playing some more Hat in Time, and on Saturday I will be doing a needle felting stream with a thing that I have yet to announce. I will be working on the announcer for that as well. All right, take it easy. Later. Bye.